Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to News 9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi. I'm bringing you this special broadcast of top stories from our studios here in the National Capital Region. We have an expansive list of stories for you to cover. Of course, we will talk about the Uttarkashi Tunnel Rescue. It has been more than 200 plus hours. More so, people are still trapped. 41 workers continue to be there even as the drilling process right now remains suspended. We will touch upon that facet. We will also take you to Kochi, where it was a concert and a stampede happened. 4 students lost their lives over there as well. Top international updates vis-a-vis the Taiwanese election, the Bangladesh election, and also bring you global climate stories as well. We'll talk about the biggest iceberg that's available on the planet right now, and take you to Mount Etna in Italy as well, talking about climate change on that front as well. But first and foremost, we'll cut right across to that conflict in West Asia. It's day 51 of Israel versus Hamas hostage deal. Well, you name it, humanitarian crisis, that's also deepening, and the aid that is now trickling inside the Gaza Strip is well being emboldened by the minute. Take a look. The following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being. Well, now, like I mentioned, the war between Israel and Hamas has now entered its 51st day. Let's get you the latest update on your screens first. The second batch of hostages, 13 Israelis and 4 Thai nationals, were released by Hamas. They've arrived in Israel. Meanwhile, Israel has freed 39 Palestinians, including 6 women and 33 minors, as part of this exchange swap deal. Israeli troops killed 6 Palestinians in the West Bank area as the raids over there continue. This even as Hamas has threatened to delay the next hostage release over the Gaza aid, which is why, again, the second batch of hostages that were released, that release was also delayed only because of the age dispute between Hamas and the other side. Meanwhile, in terms of the death toll that continues to mount, 14,854 Palestinians, including 6,150 children, have been killed in this conflict. And on nearly 2 months into the Israel-Hamas war, a 4-day pause in fighting, which began in Gaza on Friday as part of an agreement between Israel and Hamas that's currently underway. The visuals that you're seeing are that particular swap deal. These are Red Crescent vehicles on your screens, ladies and gentlemen. Israeli hostages inside these cars as this hostage swap release deal gets underway. Now, hostage release was part of the agreement, owing to which Hamas handed over 13 Israeli hostages and 4 foreigners to the International Committee of Red Cross on Saturday night. This has also been corroborated by Qatar's foreign ministry, that has been a major part of the mediation process as well. Now, after a brief disruption, which had come across earlier due to, in the deal to free the captives, it was overcome with the help of Qatari mediation and Egyptian intervention. Tension continued into the night outside Israel's Offer military jail at the Betunia crossing near Ramallah in West Bank on Saturday, where gunfire was also heard. Take a look at that. Pictures on your screens. The gunfire was heard before a wounded person was also taken away by the medics. And earlier, 3 people were reportedly injured by live bullets, according to the Palestinian Red Crescent Society. Now, the jail was the scene of Friday's handover of Palestinian prisoners from Israeli custody, which was the first batch, let's not forget, as part of the Gaza hostage swap deal and ceasefire. The armed wing, Hamas, said it had decided to delay Saturday's scheduled second round of hostage releases until Israel met conditions, including committing to let aid trucks into northern Gaza, and claimed Israel was falling behind and failing to respect the terms of the Palestinian prisoner release agreed as part of the hostage deal. Meanwhile, that second hostage deal, it has undergone. We were earlier showing you visuals of how people, usually and mostly minors, that have been let off from both sides, from the Israeli side and from Hamas's hostage side as well. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he was behind closed doors, but albeit he was behind closed doors, he was closely monitoring the operation to bring back the second batch of Israeli hostages that were freed from Hamas's captivity. Now, Netanyahu, along with National Security Advisor Zachi Hanegbi and other military officials, were at the military headquarters in Tel Aviv as Hamas fighters released 17 hostages, including Israeli women and children, as well as Thai farm workers during the second day of the war's first truce, according to the Red Cross. Now, the official release happened later in the night after a brief disruption earlier to the deal to free captives, which was overcome with the mediation of Qatar and Egypt. But it smiles all around. The Israeli army on Sunday released a video of a 9-year-old hostage who was held by Hamas, running into her father's arms as she was brought back to Israel after spending her 9th birthday as a captive in Gaza Strip just the day before. Now returned in the second group of hostages released by Hamas under a Qatari broke deal with Israel. She appeared in good health along with fellow hostage Hila Rotem Shohani, whose mother continues to remain in Gaza.
Because unfortunately, I'm the one who told her father that she has been found murdered. And a week later, I'm the one who told the father that she probably captured. So it's a kind of a relief for me that she's still alive, she's here, she's with us.
Now, we were just listening to Amit Solvi, who is the chairman of the kibbutz Be'eri, where the family lived. And he expressed relief that Emily was alive and back, having initially delivered the news to her father that she was dead. Now, Solvi and other community members were watching video of the release of the hostages at the Dead Sea Resort, where most of the kibbutz residents were evacuated to after the raid. And not just Israelis and family members, kin of the hostages that were in captivity by Hamas. Hundreds of Palestinians also welcomed freed prisoners in the early hours on Sunday in the West Bank. Footage appeared to show released prisoners being carried on people's shoulders as crowds cheered, clapped and waved flags in the streets. The Israeli authorities released 39 Palestinian prisoners, including 6 women and 33 children, from 2 prisons as part of the second batch of the exchange with Hamas. Delving into the details, Isra Jabis, a Palestinian detainee freed by Israel under a hostage deal, agreed with the Islamist group Hamas, was reunited with the family on Sunday. Jabis suffered from burn injuries, which are the result of an explosion in her car during what Israel said was an attempt on murder back in the year 2015. Jabis was sentenced to 11 years in jail. Now she's back home. Meanwhile, the ripple effect of this conflict is being felt across the globe. Tens of thousands of pro-Palestinian protesters marched through central London on Saturday to call for a permanent ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, in the latest in a series of similar weekend demonstrations in the capital since the 7-week war broke out. Now, Saturday's rally took place during a 4-day truce between Israel and the Palestinian Islamist terrorist group Hamas. the first break in the fighting, but protesters said this was not enough. Demonstrators carrying signs such as "Ceasefire now" and "Stop the war on Gaza" walked peacefully along the march route towards the House of Parliament. Now protesters carried Palestinian flags and held signs calling for a permanent ceasefire. Some protesters chanted, "From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free." UK-based Palestine Solidarity Campaign, the PSC, which organized Saturday's march, said the 4-day truce agreed between Israel and the Palestinian Islamist group Hamas was only a brief and partial respite for the people of Gaza. Aerial footage that you can see on your screens of the protest and the route, it showed a slow-moving crowd carrying flags and banners. A police helicopter was monitoring the protest from above. The London Metropolitan Police reported that a small number of protesters were also arrested for unlawful activities. Just a few weeks ago, former Interior Minister Suella Braverman was fired by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak after she had claimed that police was very lenient on the pro-Palestinian protesters. Meanwhile, after more than a month of Palestinian rocket fire and Israeli airstrikes, a temporary truce has begun on Friday, and it brought a rare silence over the Gaza Strip. Now, with the ceasefire taking hold, displaced Palestinians, including those from heavily bombarded areas, cautiously returned to their homes. Some to search amidst the rubble, and in the southern city of Khan Yunis, streets were filled with people on the move.
For the first time in more than a month, Palestinian rocket fire and Israeli airstrikes fell silent over the Gaza Strip at the start of a temporary truce on Friday. As the tentative ceasefire between Israeli forces and Palestinian militants took hold, some of the hundreds of thousands of Gaza residents who fled fighting decided to try and return to whatever was left of their homes. In the southern city of Khan Yunis, which has been housing thousands of displaced families, including from heavily bombarded northern Gaza, streets were packed with people on the move. Ahmed Wael told Reuters he felt happy and at ease.
I am going back to my home. Our hearts are rested, especially because there is a 4-day official ceasefire, better than returning to live in tents. I am very tired from sitting there, without any food or water. At home, we can live. We drink tea. We make bread using fire and the oven.
The United Nations says around 2/3 of Gaza's 2.3 million residents are now homeless, including most of the population of Gaza City and the rest of the northern half of the enclave, reduced to a wasteland by Israel's assault. Israel invaded the Gaza Strip in an operation it says is aimed at destroying the Hamas Islamist movement governing the enclave, after Hamas fighters launched a surprise attack on Israeli communities, killing 1,200 people and taking hundreds of hostages. Palestinian health authorities say more than 12,000 people have been killed in the devastating Israeli assault that reduced swaths of the densely populated territory to rubble. Israeli planes dropped leaflets in the southern part of Gaza, telling residents not to attempt to return to the north, which it said remained a war zone and was not safe. Many Palestinians worried they would never be able to return. Ala al-Mubashar fled Gaza City. She sat with her children outside a hospital in Khan Yunis, watching others flood the streets.
I see people coming and going, and I swear my soul is crying. My heart is crying. I just want to go back, even if just for an hour, to see my house and the neighborhood, to see Gaza City and what happened to it.
She and her children have been living inside a school converted into a shelter.
I went back before the Jews set up a checkpoint. There was no neighborhood or anything. Everything was destroyed. What about the people? Where will they go? When there's a ceasefire, where will people go?
And even as the truce holds right now, at the moment, well, take a look at this. Once more, a Lebanese citizen, Rose Rostam, is facing displacement as the conflict spills across the border. She is part of the 50,000 people, as per the UN, that have been forced to flee due to clashes on Lebanon's border with Israel. This marks the third instance where conflict has uprooted her life.
Rose Rostem has had her life uprooted before. This time, she's among the some 50,000 people the UN says have been displaced because of clashes on Lebanon's border with Israel. On October 7th, a war started between Gaza and Israel. Hezbollah started firing at Israel, and we live near the border in a village called Burj al-Malouk. Then the shells began to land very close. And we have children. Of course, they get very scared. We couldn't stay in the house and hear the shelling and firing. We were frightened. We then went to Sidon, to my brother-in-law's house. It marks the third time conflict has driven her from her home. During Lebanon's civil war in the 1980s, she moved twice. The first time because of Israeli bombardment. The second was to flee Palestinian militant attacks. Lebanon is a nation of displaced peoples. The influx of Palestinians following the creation of Israel in 1948 helped spark the Lebanese Civil War decades later. In 2006, hundreds of thousands were displaced during the Israel and Hezbollah war. Then came Syria's civil war in 2011, which led to the arrival of 1.5 million refugees. That, combined with the 2019 financial collapse, which destroyed Lebanon's economy, has left many without income or job. The combination of economic despair and the influx of refugees is sparking tension with locals. Meanwhile, many refugees, faced with growing hostility and low work prospects, are eyeing Europe and other countries. Rostem says her family used to be comfortable when her husband sold car parts. But he was forced to close up shop when the fighting began. Now she checks the news to see if her house was among the latest hit by rockets.
Meanwhile, brands based in the Western nations are facing the impact of a boycott campaign in Egypt and Jordan as the Israeli military continues its offensive in Gaza. Our next report tells you more.
This McDonald's in Giza, Egypt has seen few customers in recent weeks. When Reuters visited in early November, the inside appeared empty. That's because the fast food restaurant has been hit by a boycott over Israel's military offensive in Gaza since the Hamas attack on October 7th. The campaign has targeted Western brands in Arab countries over perceptions about pro-Israeli stances and financial ties. A sign in the window saying the franchise operator and its staff support Palestinians has done little to change those perceptions. Here's Ahmed Izzat, who lives in Cairo.
It is fundamental for us as people supporting our Palestinian brothers to at the very least stop buying the products that help the Zionist entity kill our Palestinian brothers in Gaza.
McDonald's has said it's dismayed by disinformation about its position on the conflict. Its Egyptian franchise has pledged $650,000 in aid to Gaza. An employee at the corporate offices of McDonald's in Egypt said sales at this franchise fell by at least 70% in October and November compared to the same months last year. Starbucks has also been targeted in the boycott campaign, despite the coffee giant saying it's a non-political organization. An Egyptian supplier to Starbucks and McDonald's says he's noticed client demand has slowed down by about 50%. Even smaller businesses are feeling the pinch too. Kiosk owner Issam Abu Shalabi says customers are demanding Egyptian soft drinks instead of products from Israel or the US. I see it as very wrong, he says. What does it mean to drink something or not drink it? Shalabi says if people really want to support Palestinians, they should fight alongside them. But Hassam Mahmoud with Egypt's boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement says the campaign lets people feel like they're making an impact and hitting companies where it hurts. This Cairo supermarket says it's had an uptick in sales because it replaced boycotted products with local ones. In Jordan, this grocery store has signs warning customers if a product is being boycotted. This customer says that if a boycotted item is picked up by mistake, she would return it immediately. Still, some remain skeptical about the effectiveness of boycotts. Take-up has also been uneven, with no major impact seen in some countries, including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Tunisia.
Well, you can vouch on News9 Live to bring you all the latest details that are coming out of the West Asian conflict. Meanwhile, some other top international developments as well. And first and foremost, shifting our focus to Bangladesh, which has invited foreign observers, especially from the Western nations, for its upcoming general elections, which are scheduled to take place on the 7th of January, just next year. Now, this invitation to foreign dignitaries was extended by the Foreign Secretary of Bangladesh, Masood bin Momen, while he was at Bangladesh High Commission in New Delhi. Now, Momen was attending an outreach event at the High Commission with around 90 Delhi-based diplomats who are concurrently accredited to Bangladesh. The invitation to foreign observers comes at a time when Bangladesh has come under growing pressure from the Western nations, especially the United States, to hold free and fair elections and to also hold talks with the opposition Bangladesh National Party. Now, Momen, however, pushed back on the West's proposal to hold talks with the opposition, saying that there was no time left for any more political dialogue with the BNP. Momen also assured that the elections would be inclusive, as several number of parties would be contesting and all the parties would be provided an even contesting field.
I met many ambassadors and representatives from missions which are concurrently accredited to Bangladesh, and briefed them about our socio-economic development, briefed them about Bangladesh-India relationship, and also briefed them about the latest political situation in Bangladesh and our preparations for holding a free and fair election on 7th of January. Many of these ambassadors cannot go frequently to Bangladesh, and ambassadors in Bangladesh, we reach out to them more frequently. So I thought that they should hear directly from me and then report back to their capitals, so that these misperceptions and rumors have no place in their reporting. No, I mean, with US we have a long-term relationship, and the last couple of years we have engaged with them at various levels. There were a number of senior officials from the US side visited Bangladesh, and also many of our senior officials, including myself, we visited the US. So I think at the official level, we have good communication. But perception is that, from time to time, that the situation or the relationship has some problems. But US has assured us that they have no favorites in our elections, and they would like to see a free and fair and peaceful elections, which we are also committed to. So I don't see any big problem. Their ambassador went on a personal trip, so that is perfectly all right.
Well, shifting our focus to Rome, where thousands rallied demanding an end to violence against women following the tragic murder of 22-year-old university student Guilia Cecetin earlier this month. Eyewitness video captured the impassioned crowd chanting and marching through the city streets. The nationwide protests reflect the growing outrage and a call for change. Italian lawmakers responded by pledging to tighten measures against violence towards women, approving a set of initiatives as well. Now, these set of initiatives that were approved on the 22nd of November are set to enhance protection for vulnerable women and combat femicide throughout the country. The collective outcry underscores the urgent need for action and awareness to address gender-based violence. In Peru, in Lima, there was a march by hundreds of women demanding justice for femicide victims on the International Day for the elimination of violence against women. Chanting and brandishing placards, protesters spotlighted gender-based violence issues, including rape, child pregnancies, and murder. These are visuals on your screens from Spain, where in Madrid a similar sort of protest took place. The mother of a femicide victim joined the march, expressing concerns about her daughter's murder potentially being released. Authorities recorded 110 femicides and over 110,000 cases of family-related gender-based violence just this year alone. The impassioned demonstration underscores the pressing need for addressing and combating pervasive gender violence in Italy, in Latin America, and in Europe as well. Visuals of people being seen marching along Gran Via Avenue, holding the banner, "It's over." Nearly 1,273 women have lost their lives to gender violence in Spain since 2023, about 20 years, with 52 fatalities in the year 2023 alone. The powerful demonstration highlights the urgent need again for societal change and government intervention to combat these pervasive issues. And take a look at this. In a newly unsealed legal complaint, Meta, the parent company of Instagram, is under scrutiny for allegedly mishandling reports of users under the age of 13. The complaint, filed by attorneys and generals of 33 states, reveals that despite over 1.1 million reports since early 2019, Meta, quote-unquote, disabled only a fraction of these underage accounts. Take a look at this. The social media giant is accused of collecting children's personal information without parental consent, violating federal children's privacy laws. The company may face significant civil penalties if the allegations are proven. Now, according to the complaint, Meta had knowledge of millions of Instagram users under the age of 13, yet continued to allow them to be on the platform. Now, the charges are part of a larger federal lawsuit accusing Meta of concealing internal studies on the user harms. The unsealed filing provides details from the state's lawsuit, including internal emails and employee chats. It alleges that Meta actively sought underage users, failing to prioritize effective age-checking systems. Meta responded, stating it has worked for a decade to ensure online safety for teenagers and criticizing the complaint for mischaracterization. The company contends that Instagram's terms prohibit users under the age of 13 and it has measures in place to remove such accounts when identified. Meta suggests that age verification is a complex challenge and has advocated for federal legislation to require parental approval for teens downloading these apps. Now, the privacy charges revolve around Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, with potential fines exceeding $50,000 per violation. The lawsuit argues that Meta neglected to build systems to detect underage users due to their perceived importance as a crucial demographic for the future growth. The filing highlights internal company data indicating Meta's awareness of underage users and the automatic dismissal of certain reports of users under the age of 13. This legal action follows Meta's 2019 settlement with the Federal Trade Commission over privacy violations, emphasizing the ongoing challenges in managing underage users on digital platforms. Most of your young ones are on the phone all the time, probably have an Instagram account as well. It's time their parents be a little bit careful about what your young ones are doing on the mobile phone as well. We're shifting our focus to some domestic developments, stories that are taking shape back at home. And first and foremost, we're going to have to cut across to Uttarkashi, where the tunnel rescue operation has now entered its 15th day. In the latest update, the Indian Air Force has flown in critical DRDO-made equipment to Dehradun. We earlier heard voices from the National Disaster Management Authority, earlier heard voices from the tunneling experts who saying, we're not putting a time frame on this particular rescue operation. What you're looking at on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, is that vertical board which is going to make its way right to the top of the hill, because vertical drilling is now an aspect that is being looked at very significantly. We don't know when it is going to begin, but according to the latest National Disaster Management Authority officials' reaction, it is going to begin after 24 hours. Meanwhile, at the moment, ever since Friday evening, when the blades of the auger machine broke down, no drilling essentially has taken place. The rescue operations are currently underway. Drones have been used. They're all there. All the SDRF, NDRF officials, the SJVNL, the RVNL, the BRO, various agencies, the ONGC, you name it, they're all there. They've been fighting hard. They've been toiling hard for the last 15 days to make sure that the 41 trapped workers safely return back home. Our colleague Nivriti, she's also on the ground getting details. She's also getting us details, speaking to the workers, because it's important to understand what the workers are going through right now as well. We've seen endoscopic visuals of all the workers standing with their hard hats inside the tunnel. There is ample space for all of them to move around as well. But at the same time, it's important to understand what their mental situation right now is going to be like. From here, the equipment that has been flown in by the DRDO is going to be taken to the tunnel site. Now the rescue authorities are now trying to remove the auger machine which got stuck inside the tunnel after its blades were damaged. Horizontal drilling operations have been suspended. They continue to be suspended till the time the auger machine and the broken metal blade parts are removed from the debris. So the removal part is going to take an ample amount of time, which I think is going to be the rescue modus operandi today. Plasma cutter and a plasma cutter machine has been brought in to clear the debris from inside the tunnel while work is on to get the auger machine removed from the tunnel as well. Manual drilling will be considered once the auger machine is removed, but these plasma cutters might come in handy this time around when the debris removal is being looked at. Authorities are also thinking of other options to complete the rescue. A big drilling machine was seen to be taken to the point from where vertical drilling is being considered, but this option is also not that easy as a lot of muck has fallen below. With several options and rescue plans being considered, officials have refrained from giving any time frame within which the rescue mission could be completed. Arnold Dix, international tunneling expert, was earlier heard saying that, well, at this point in time, patience is going to have to be the key. We must focus on bringing them home safe, not bringing them out soon. And they've expressed hope of a positive outcome once the manual drilling inside the tunnel begins.
सुबह से प्लाज्मा मशीन जो हैदराबाद से आई है उसने काम करना शुरू कर दिया है और तेजी से कटिंग हो रही है। अब कुल 14 मीटर शेष बचा हुआ है जो आगर मशीन को काट के निकालना है। लगता है कि जल्दी ये काम हो जाएगा अगले कुछ घंटों में। उसके बाद मैनुअल काम शुरू होगा डीलिंग का।
The plasma machine, we're still cutting the auger to get the screw out. There's about 16 meters more of auger to cut. We're getting about a meter an hour at the moment. So
it is reached yet?
I don't know yet at the moment. We don't know if it's reached, but we're setting up a second tunnel at the moment. So beneficial is that it'll cut the steel faster. So at the moment we're using argon cutter. The plasma machine is a lot hotter, cuts the steel much faster.
So, as you know, the auger machine failed, and we're having a lot of technical difficulties getting the auger out from the pipe. That's going much faster now. This morning, newer plasma cutters have come, and the brave men who are going in there in a pipe with plasma cutters and cutting it piece by piece and taking it out. That's happening now, and progress is faster this morning. Once we've got the auger out, then we can go in and have a look at the pipe and see what condition that's in, and then we can assess what next. As you know, we're about less than 10 metres away, but it's as if it could be 1,000 kilometres away because we still don't exactly know what's there. We don't know if it's girders, we don't know if it's machines. We've used ground penetrating radar, we've looked ahead, we think we know what's there. But this mountain has shown us that just when we think we know, we don't. So we're being very conservative, making sure no one gets hurt. We don't want to jeopardise the men on the other side as well. So we're making sure they're back. Some people have asked, well, why aren't they digging this way? We say, well, we don't want them to dig this way because the very reasons that it collapsed in the first place might still be there. So we just keep them back, keep them calm, fed with medications, things like that, and they know we're on the way. And I think The feedback that I've got is just knowing that we're here and they're not forgotten, and yes, it's taking a little time, but we're being so careful because we don't want them hurt, and we don't want anyone hurt on the way in. And back to when I first arrived, it's everybody home safe. And
well, so you heard the tunneling expert over there. But for the latest, Nivriti Mohan, my colleague, she continues to be there at the Silk Arab mouth of this particular tunnel collapse site. She's filed in a report. Take a look.
The plasma cutter has arrived here, and the cutting of the struck portion of auger machine has begun. Also, the pipe that had bent is also being cut, and after that only the drilling can start. Drilling won't start actually because authorities are now exploring the option of manual digging, and for that they want the auger machine to be withdrawn from the pipes because it is stuck inside and the work is not being done right now. So the plasma cutter that has been brought in from Hyderabad is here now, and it is cutting the stuck part of the auger machine and the pipe that is bent. So the latest update from the site is this, and also the manual digging that will take place after the machine, the auger machine is withdrawn, is going to take time because they have to dig up to 20 meters at least if the distance is not enhanced further after the machine is withdrawn, because there is a possibility that distance may increase because pipe will be cut and the muck will increase there. So the part that is to be digged manually can increase, the distance to reach the workers can increase, and it is going to take time to dig it manually and reach up to the workers. And also the authorities are exploring other options also. The next best option that is being explored is the vertical digging that will take place from top of the mountain, and this is the road that BRO has built. You can see the road that BRO has built. It is a 1.2 kilometers of road to the top of the tunnel, from where the vertical drilling will start. You can see the laborers out there working on the road on top of the tunnel. This is not the exact point, but it is a few meters away from this place, and from there the vertical drilling will start, and they will have to dig vertically up to 80 to 100 meters, and that won't be very easy because vertical drilling has its own risks. They will have to first of all find out whether there are any aquifers inside, how much of cavity has been created inside, because the muck has fallen in the tunnel and the soil has fallen in the tunnel. Of course, there must be a cavity created. So all these things will have to be taken care of before they drill. After the workers are rescued, arrangements have been made. You can see, as we have been already showing you, that there is a temporary medical facility set up there where the primary health checkup will be done, and then you can see the ambulances parked down there. There's a special parking there, and you can see a few ambulances there. Like this, until yesterday there were many ambulances because there was a possibility that the workers trapped inside will be rescued. But because now there are grim chances of the workers to be rescued within 1 day or 2 days, so the number of ambulances parked here has reduced, but the ambulances are parked 2 to 3 kilometers away, so around 40 ambulances are nearby. So through these ambulances they will be taken to a 41 bed facility in Chinnayali Sor, and every arrangement has been made, and if there is a need and somebody needs more medical facility and it is not sufficient for them here, so they will be airlifted to Rishikesh Ames Hospital from the specially made helipad around 6 kilometers from here. So these are the arrangements that have been made, and every care is being taken, and authorities, the relatives who are present here, they are regularly speaking to their people who are stuck inside, and medicines are being supplied, vitamin D tablets are being supplied, because so that the workers stuck inside do not face the deficiency of vitamin D due to lack of sunlight inside. So everything, every day doctors are talking to them, psychologists are talking to them to take care of their mental well-being also. So this is what is happening right now. All the options that are being explored have their own risks, but authorities are trying their best to evacuate the workers from inside. It may take some time, but gradually we may be able to, anybody, the authorities, the workers, the agencies who are working here for the rescue operation are hopeful that though it may take time, but all the 41 workers trapped inside will come out safely. That is what they are hoping for.
But apart from safety, that mental trauma aspect is something that we here at News 9 are focusing on. And during the course of the day, you will get to witness a lot of case studies of who these workers are, where do they come from, what are their families going through in these anxiety-ridden times. Meanwhile, BSNL has laid out those lines for all the trapped workers so that you can speak to their family and their loved ones back at home. Take a look at this report.
Now, what our authority is doing is to give connectivity to the workers. You can see this BSNL instrument here. So the mobile connectivity is what they are trying is that workers are connected 24/7 to their relatives, to the authorities, everybody, because until now what was happening was that they were speaking to the people inside through microphones and speakers, but now the authorities have set up a connection. They are trying to set up a connection. So you can see the equipment here that is that has been placed here, and the wires are being taken to inside the tunnel so that the workers, 41 workers who are stranded inside for almost 15 days now, are connected 24/7 with their relatives who are waiting for them outside, and to the authorities, and to rescue workers, and to the mess where the food is being prepared for them. So everything is being taken care of, because it is going to take time. Earlier they were expecting that they will be coming out soon and work was going at a fast pace, but because the time has increased, so the authorities have decided that this connection should be provided to the workers trapped inside.
And from Uttarkashi, let's cut across to Kerala, where at least 4 students died and over 60 were injured. This at a stampede situation which came about at a concert in Cochin University of Science and Technology, QSAT, on Saturday evening. Kerala Health Minister Veena George said that the injured students were taken to the Kalamassery Medical College. And the Vice Chancellor of the university said that the stampede took place when it started raining. Now, it was a concert that was taking place over there. The Vice Chancellor says that the students from other colleges also attended the event. Pinarayi Vijayan, the Chief Minister of Kerala, his particular statement on your screens as well. Now, at the stampede, as it occurred, almost 2,000 people with stairs around this particular concert venue. You know what? Let's take a look at what went wrong and what caused this unfortunate incident. Now, the incident took place during Nikita Gandhi's music concert. Sudden rains caused people to rush for shelter. An entry to the program was reserved only for ticket holders, but it is being reported that a lot of local residents, non-ticket holders, were also let inside, leading to a massive overcrowding at the venue point. Now, Kerala authorities are looking into the matter, and a thorough search is currently underway as to come to the point and ascertain who the main culprit is. Visuals of the venue point on your screens as well, as people still try to understand what went wrong. 4 students have died, over 60 injured. Reactions by the health minister, by the state IT minister, state law minister, and the chief minister himself. Let's listen in to what the police officials and the local authorities have also had to say.
This is a shocking incident. We lost three students and 1 outsider in this incident. It's about him. First, this is happened in Kerala first time. It's an unexpected thing. Now both of us were in Calicut. We came here. We visited all the patients in the ward. 2 patients are in the ICU. 2 students are in the ICU of another hospital, Aster. 2 persons, 1 student and an outsider at the Kinder Hospital. 2 who are in the ICU of Aster Hospital, their condition is a little critical. We are trying our best to give the best treatment to them. The government has taken all steps to coordinate all these activities. Police taken the rescue operations whenever they got the information, and the health minister directly involved in this coordinating all treatment facilities, not only in the medical colleges but in the private hospitals also. We have decided to conduct a comprehensive inquiry with regard to this incident. On the basis of that inquiry, we can reach a conclusion. This is not the right time to get any conclusions. In the preliminary, the higher education minister is here. The university has conducted a preliminary inquiry, and they have decided to conduct this inquiry by the syndicate subcommittee. And the chief minister today, just after this incident, we have convened a cabinet meeting at Calicut. Then chief minister has mentioned that a comprehensive inquiry will be done by the.
Meanwhile, today marks the 15th anniversary of the horrific 26/11 terror attacks in Mumbai. The whole nation is paying tribute to the fallen heroes who laid down their lives defending the nation. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde and Deputy Chief Minister of the state, Devendra Fadnavis, solemnly honored the fallen at the police headquarters. 15 years have passed since 10 terrorists from Pakistan landed in Mumbai using the sea route and opened fire at iconic places like the Uttarkashi Terminal Station, the Oberoi Hotel, the Leopold Cafe and the Taj Hotel. The operation to neutralize the terrorists took about 3 days, and the supreme sacrifice of several officers of the Mumbai police and several other Indian security forces. Even Israel's ambassador to India, Naor Gilon, paid tribute to the heroes who lost their life.
First of all, it's a horrendous phenomena when people come into your safe haven, to your houses in Mumbai to disrupt their life, to create panic. They wanted panic. They wanted to transmit it. Exactly like Hamas. You know, their aim is not only to kill, it's also to kill, to create panic with the surviving, to make them afraid. And we are telling the Indians, like India is always standing with Israel, and especially recently, but always, since I'm here more than 2 years, India, on most occasions, especially when we need India, India is on our side. That's the feeling. And Indians have to know we are on your side. When you come to fight terrorism, there is no if and no buts. We are working together. We will eliminate the terrorists. As Prime Minister Modi also said, rightly so, that terror is a global phenomenon. You have to join hands globally. Countries, free people of the world have to join hands and efforts in order to fight it. And I think that India and Israel, we demonstrate in our actions and friendship and what we do together the joining of these hands to eliminate terrorism.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Top Stories. Lots more continues right on the other side. Keep watching News9 Live.
GPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
All of us have to think about unique and distinctive value addition that cannot be automated or repeated or replaced by a machine.
ChatGPT may kill many companies.